Hi, I'm Ashley Michael, a 28-year-old financial analyst at Morgan Stanley. While I take pride in my career, my heart has always been tied to our family business. You really should let me help with the books, Dad. I do this for a living. Everything's fine, Princess. Mark's got it handled. That exchange at our weekly family dinner churned my stomach. My father, Thomas Michael, wasn't just being stubborn. Something was off. At 58, he should have been basking in the success of Michael Auto Parts, the business he built from a single store into a 12-location chain spanning 3 states. Instead, dark circles shadowed his eyes, and his hands trembled when holding his fork. Your brother's doing great managing the finances. Focus on your own career, Dad added. Sure, if great meant running 3 previous businesses into the ground. Mark, my older brother and Dad's golden child, joined the family business 5 years ago after his latest failed startup. Even after Mom passed when we were kids, Mark could do no wrong in Dad's eyes. Ashley, you won't believe what I found reviewing those contracts you mentioned. Lisa's voice crackled over the phone later that night. My best friend and corporate lawyer had an uncanny knack for sniffing out trouble. Please tell me it's good news, I said. Not exactly. The paperwork is strange. Like really strange. Determined to get answers, I stopped by the flagship store that week. Mike, the longtime manager, pulled me aside. Miss Ashley, something ain't right. Your brother's been having meetings after hours. What kind of meetings? I asked. The kind where folks don't look like they're here to buy car parts, if you know what I mean. Just then, Mark's wife, Helen, waltzed in, dripping with new jewelry. Oh, didn't expect to see you here. Don't you have your own job to worry about? She sneered. Nice bracelet, Helen. Must have cost a fortune. Mark takes care of me, she replied, her voice sugary sweet. Unlike some people, I know how to be grateful to this family. That night at dinner, I watched Dad push his food around his plate while Mark bragged about his latest business strategy. Mom would have seen right through this. She used to say family secrets were like engine problems. Ignore them, and everything falls apart. The quarterly numbers look fantastic, Mark announced, grinning. But Dad's hand shook as he reached for his wine. Maybe I could take a look, I offered. Back off, Ashley, Mark snapped. You're not part of this. Dad's face paled. Ashley, please, just trust us to handle this. I nodded, but deep down, I knew something was very wrong. The first red flag was the missing delivery trucks, 3 of them gone, with no paperwork explaining where or why. During a walkthrough of the warehouse, Mike grabbed my arm. Miss Ashley, your brother's been having more of those late meetings. Last night, some guys in fancy suits showed up. They weren't looking for spark plugs. Thanks, Mike. Keep an eye out for me, I said. As I headed to Dad's office, shouting stopped me in my tracks. Where's the rest of it, Mark? They're not going to wait forever. Dad's voice was laced with panic. I'll handle it. Just keep quiet and let me fix this, Mark yelled back. Peeking through the crack in the door, I saw Dad gripping his desk, his face ashen. Mark paced the room, running his hands through his hair, his telltale sign of losing control. Days later, Helen sauntered into the store with a new designer bag dangling from her arm. Look what Mark bought me, she gloated. Isn't he the most generous husband? That's quite a spending spree you're on, Helen. Business must be booming. Oh, honey, you have no idea. Maybe if you weren't so busy playing detective, you'd actually find someone to spoil you too. Helen's words rang in my ears long after she left. That evening, I waited until the store emptied before slipping into Dad's office. My heart sank when I found the note in his drawer. Time's running out. Pay up, or everyone learns the truth. Dad, we need to talk about this, I said the next day, confronting him. Everything's fine, Ashley. Please just stay out of it, he insisted. You've lost $15 million in 2 months. That's not fine. Before Dad could respond, Mark stormed into the office, his eyes blazing. Why can't you just mind your own business? He barked. Mark, stop. Dad's voice trembled. No, she needs to back off. His words carried a weight I couldn't ignore. That night, I called Lisa. I need your help. Something's seriously wrong, and I think Mark's involved in something illegal, I told her. Send me everything. Bank statements, inventory reports, all of it, Lisa said. And Ashley, be careful. This feels bigger than just cooking the books. Lisa and I worked late into the night, poring over documents spread across her dining room table. Holy crap, she muttered, pointing to a stack of invoices. These are fake. Mark's been inflating parts orders to funnel money through the business. I sifted through bank statements, my hands shaking. Look at these withdrawals, $50,000 here, $30,000 there. Where's it all going? Lisa's face darkened. These amounts match deposits at Crown Casino. Ashley, your brother's got gambling debts. Big ones. Mike, the store manager, later confirmed what we feared. He captured footage of Mark meeting shady men in suits at 2 a.m., money exchanging hands. And Dad, he looked terrified in the background. There's more, Lisa said, pulling up Helen's bank records. Your sister-in-law has offshore accounts. They've been hiding assets. Then my phone buzzed. It was Mike. They're here again, he whispered. Your brother's screaming at your dad about some payment being due. Miss Ashley, they mentioned your name. I raced to the store. When I arrived, I found Dad slumped in his office chair, tears streaming down his face. Daddy, please tell me what's happening, I begged. I can't, he whispered, his voice breaking. He said he'd hurt you. Who? These people Mark owes money to. They're dangerous. If I didn't help cover his debts, they'd come after you first. How much does he owe? $2 million. The gambling, the drugs, I've been selling everything I can. But it's not enough. They gave us until Friday. Before I could respond, the office door slammed open. Mark stood there, his face twisted with rage. You just couldn't leave it alone, could you? Had to play detective. How could you do this to Dad? To the business? Mom bulled. Shut up, he roared. You don't understand what's at stake. I understand you're a pathetic addict, I snapped. You'd rather threaten your own family than face the consequences. Mark, please, Dad pleaded. We can find another way. There is no other way, Mark shouted. His finger jabbed toward me. And you've ruined everything. Helen just called the bank. She froze our accounts. What did you do? He spat. What you should have done years ago, I shot back. I'm protecting this family. Mark lunged at me, but Dad stepped between us. Touch her, and I'll call them myself, Dad said, his voice firm. It's over, son. Mark's face hardened. You're both dead to me. When they come collecting, don't expect me to protect you anymore. He stormed out, slamming the door behind him. Through the window, I watched as he climbed into a black SUV, the same one from the security footage. Dad, pack a bag, I said, my voice steady. You're staying with me tonight. Tears streamed down his face as he nodded. Ashley, I'm so sorry. I thought I could handle it. We'll fix this, I told myself. But first, I needed to make some calls. Sometimes, karma just needs a little push. Taking a deep breath, I hit send. The anonymous email detailing Helen's offshore accounts went straight to Mark's business associates. 3 days later, Helen stormed into the store, her face red and streaked with tears. They took everything. The cars, the jewelry, my bags. Mark, what did you do? She screamed. Shut up. Just shut up. Mark's face turned purple with rage. Someone told him about our accounts. They're threatening to break my legs. Helen didn't flinch. I want a divorce. My lawyer's already drawing up the papers. The next morning, 2 IRS agents showed up at the store. Someone, definitely not Lisa, had tipped them off about years of unreported income. The fraud department from our insurance company wasn't far behind. Your brother's going away for a while, Lisa told me over coffee later that week. Tax evasion. Funny how that always gets them. Al Capone went down the same way. Meanwhile, Dad was busy signing new ownership papers, officially making Mike a full partner. I should have trusted you from the start, Princess, Dad said, his voice heavy with regret. Mark, he stopped being my son the moment he threatened you. Dad, the business is going to be fine, I reassured him. Our new inventory system is already showing better profits. A few days later, my phone buzzed with a restricted number. Mark's voice crackled through the line. Ashley, please, I'm facing serious time. I'm sorry for everything. I didn't reply. I hung up and blocked the number. 6 months later, Dad and I stood together in the newly renovated flagship store. The fresh sign outside read, Michael and Sons Auto Parts. Family owned since 1985. Your mother would be proud, Dad said, squeezing my hand. She always said you had her business sense. Mike mentioned casually. We got a postcard. From Mark's ex-wife. She's in Miami now, living with some rich developer. Mark? He's looking at 8 years minimum. I tossed the postcard in the trash. Some people call it karma. I call it justice. The business is thriving now. Dad's smiling again, teaching Mike everything he knows. And me? I still run the books, but differently than Mark ever did. Every dollar accounted for, every transaction clean. Last week, I got another letter from Mark. I didn't even open it. Some bridges aren't meant to be rebuilt. You ever miss him? Dad asked during our weekly family dinner. I miss who I thought he was, I admitted. But that person never really existed. We raised our glasses to family, the real kind. The kind that builds you up instead of tearing you down. Mark's old office is my workspace now. Sometimes karma does need a push, but once it starts rolling, you'd better get out of its way. What would you do if you discovered your sibling was hiding crimes and threatening your family to keep it secret? Would you expose them immediately or try to handle it quietly? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories of dealing with toxic family members and how you protected yourself and your loved ones. If this story of standing up to betrayal resonated with you, hit subscribe for more real stories about overcoming toxic relationships and finding justice. New videos every week about survival, revenge, and coming out stronger. Don't forget to like and share if you enjoyed this story of karma finally catching up to those who deserve it.